19-year-old Blaze Bernstein was last seen Tuesday night.
We're hoping to find him and bring him home safely.
Adriana Weingold joins us from Lake Forest, where the search for 19-year-old Blaze Bernstein has intensified. Adriana.
On January 4th, the Homicide Office received the missing persons report, and that's when our work began. The missing persons report was a little out of the ordinary. It caught our attention. An Ivy League student, young, at home, on Christmas break, goes missing from Foothill Ranch. He doesn't have his keys, he doesn't have the glasses, so something was wrong.
And we immediately started working and diving into it to locate Blaze Bernstein.
And still a lot of questions about exactly what happened the night Blaze Bernstein.
Blaze Bernstein.
Blaze Bernstein disappeared 1 week ago. Missing while home for winter break.
One of the first things that we did is go down to the area where Blaze was last seen. The information that was provided to us was he was potentially in last contact with Sam Woodward. And we found that information out through Blaze's parents, Gideon and Jeannie, their own investigation with the help of some family members, that potentially the last person he had contact with was Sam Woodward. They found that information out via Snapchat.
We ended up going on Snapchat, and Bowie was the only one that had been using it and really knew how to save chats and do things like that. So that's the only reason that we were able to really get the information that led to us, making a phone call.
Well, we knew who he had been talking to up until his last moments at the house the night before.
On the morning of January 4th, after Jack and I received the missing persons report, we immediately went to Borrego Park. And while we were there, we were just trying to get a lay of the land. We were trying to figure out what was going on, who saw what, who's part of this case, who's not part of this case. Meanwhile, Jack and I were feverishly trying to get a hold of Sam Woodward, and we eventually did. Hours later, he agreed to come back to Borrego Park, and that's when we first encountered him.
Sam was dressed oddly for the weather. He was wearing pants with a hoodie sweatshirt. I was keeping his hands in his pockets a lot. Dylan and I both noticed that when he would take his hands out of his pockets, there were scrapes and small cuts on his hands, and his fingernails were really dirty. He had some explanations for how that type of thing happened that we found out through our interview.
There were a lot of inconsistencies with the stories that he was telling us, and the inconsistencies, they mattered. So over the course of about a week, there were hundreds and hundreds of volunteers, department members, residents of the Foothill Ranch area, residents of Orange County searching the area to no avail. During that time, my partners and I were writing search warrants, and part of the search warrants were GPS coordinates based on cell phone technology. The GPS coordinates showed that the phone belonging to Sam Woodward and the phone belonging to Blaze Bernstein were in a particular area in the area of Borrego Park.
We ended up going back several days later, and on that day it had been raining. It had actually been raining for the day before and the day we went out to the park, and it was miserable out there. We searched for a little over an hour. We were all completely drenched and soaked and muddy, and when we were just about ready to give up on the search, we were at the very back end of the park in an area covered by trees and shrubs, and noticed that there was an area on the ground that looked a little unusual. Due to the rain, it looked like the soil had settled around something, and there was a large branch over that area. We moved that branch, and at that time we discovered a human body buried underneath a thin layer of soil.
And the investigators took us upstairs, and they told us that that because of the rain, that they had thought what they found could possibly be Blaze, but they didn't confirm it at the time.
I just lost it. I just fell to the ground. I was just so devastated that somebody could do something like that to this beautiful person.
We learned that evening that Blaze Bernstein had over 20 stab wounds, many to his neck, face, and his hands, which would tell us initially that whoever committed this crime and how it was committed was very up close and personal, and potentially had a lot of hate, animosity, and anger involved.
During that period of time, we had enough information in the office to write several search warrants for Sam Woodward's vehicle, for his house, for his clothing, and to detain him at that period of time.
The one image, and also I think it's probably the one that's etched in my mind, is the one with Dylan Jantzen on the front page of the paper, you know, when he arrested Woodward and was outside I think at the jailhouse booking him. And that one is just etched in my memory.
Yeah, I remember when Dylan was at the house with us, and he was sitting at our dining room table, and I was talking to him, and I thought, wow, this guy's like a superhero. Like, he looks like a superhero, and he's a do-gooder. Like, doesn't get any better than this. And like, if anybody is gonna get us a conviction, it's Dylan.
Yeah.
Because I know that this man is so passionate about what he is doing, and he's so smart. So I felt that we were in very good hands with him.
This was almost like Pandora's box. Some of the things, and I say that because of the things that we discovered in Sam Woodward's home. Jack and I were reviewing a journal that we had located in the residence, in the Woodward residence, and the team and I came across hundreds, if not thousands, of writings that were anti-police, anti-gay, anti-Jewish almost. So Jack and I were looking at these writings, and we started researching them.
It takes a big combination of all these things, the volume of the materials he had collected from others, plus his own personal writings, plus his actions during the murder, to come to the conclusion that we had enough for that hate enhancement and the crime.
Blaze Bernstein didn't deserve this. We had to take the extra steps for the hate crime enhancements because it was the right thing to do. You know, during the course of the investigation, the team collectively found thousands and thousands of images and literature and writings and reports that we had to author, but there is a way that it needs to be orchestrated masterfully to the jury. You know, Jack and I couldn't do that ourselves, and the person that was able to do it was District Attorney Jen Walker. She was able to orchestrate all the information in a manner that the jurors could truly understand. You know, this case was very, very impactful. It consumes you, and it consumes your time and your heart, mind, body, and soul. When Sam Woodward was sentenced, when he was found guilty, first-degree murder with hate crime enhancements, it felt like I could breathe again. A huge weight was lifted off my shoulders, and I felt that the Orange County Sheriff's Department gave Blaze a voice.
Talk about people that are underrated in our society, the people that do that hard work, the people that do the investigations, the people that do the digging and find the bodies.
Yeah, at the end of their trial, I was able to go up and I went up to him. I just cried like a baby. I told him he was my hero.
Yeah. He's probably in my top 10 of people I admire most in this world. And Detective Ackerman too, Captain Ackerman.
Well, I like to talk about the analogy of the butterfly effect, and you know how being able to do good deeds, intentional acts of kindness, and now we get to see it all over the world. You know, what we have created with that Facebook group that we have that we call Blaze It Forward is seeing all the great things that people do in the LGBTQ+ community, but also in general, just acts of kindness and of helping other people.
Yeah, it makes us feel good too when we see that there is good being done in Blaze's honor. I know that he would be happy to see how much happiness he's brought the world just because he was here.